Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of the Vuuqa Podcast. Today, I have a very important guest with me, and I'm so excited to introduce her to you and just have a chat and learn more about what she does. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today, I have Matsi with me. She is the founding CEO of Furaha Africa Holdings. She's on a mission to contribute to Africa's skills revolution and boost South African entrepreneurs. She sits on a number of boards and is the vice chairperson of Matsi Modise, non-executive director of Innovation Hub, and chairperson of Kunanago. Matsi has formidable experience planted securely in the technology, disruptions, and innovation space. It comes as no surprise that she was named one of the top 30 African leaders in technology, business, art, science, politics, design, and media by Quartz Media Africa. She has numerous other awards to her name, including being chosen by the World Economic Forum as one of the top 50 global shapers to attend the annual Davos conference. Matsi is an exceptional international speaker with a passion for entrepreneurship, leadership, and South African startups. Welcome, Matsi. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much. I'm feeling good. It's bright and early. Hey.
Bright and early. I'm so honored to have you grace us with your time to just have a chat with you. And I'm going to dive right into it and have you just tell us a little bit about Furaha Solutions and the role you play within the EdTech space.
Yeah, so Furaha Solutions is my baby. I really love my company. I really love what we're doing in South Africa. And in essence, at any point in time, a country needs to skill, upskill, and reskill its people. So Furaha Solutions is a company with a focus on learning and development. And we provide end-to-end skills, training solutions for South African blue chip companies. We've been very fortunate to be able to work with with the listed companies. And we facilitate accredited learnerships, apprenticeships, short courses, and industry training. We also we develop learner management systems for our clients. And these are in essence integrated software systems that deliver learning and development to staff online. And it maps out employee learning paths, tracks their learning progress, content customization, but then also is able to provide seamless analytics around how your staff within your company are performing.
Yeah. You know what I love about how you just started speaking? You told me that Furaha is your baby. And to me, that's the biggest sign that you are an entrepreneur and this is something that your whole heart is in and you're passionate about. And that leads me to my second question, which is what sector is showing the highest adoption rate for online learning management systems? And why? So is it the government, the private? What kind of info do you have from Furaha with regards to that question?
Yeah, the reality is, with COVID that happened and it's still currently happening, it had a way of separating us because nobody could be around each other, right? But it also had a way of bringing us together virtually. So last year was actually quite a big year for us because as much as companies want to go digital, our clients want to go digital, we were forced to go virtual. Virtual interactions with your staff, virtual interactions with your customers, virtual ways of doing your sales. So this then presented a great opportunity to get our customers to then say, let's go digital. And how do you do that? You have an integrated learner management system. And this is within the government and the private sector. I think even within your own families. So in essence, I think it's important to understand the value of how do we have a software or platforms that connect you in a way that is close to reality, in a way that, as much as we don't have physical interactions, we're able to derive the pleasure of still engaging, creating content. And now we have an ability to be more creative than if it's you and I looking at each other. Now we can actually create a way in which we can interact creatively and then also just to track and map your progress. So I think COVID did really present a great opportunity for these types of softwares to be adopted rapidly by our clients or by corporates in our country.
Yeah. No, you are preaching to the choir, because we started in the digital space 2 years before Corona, and we were having a really hard time with people just understanding what it is that we wanted to do by digitizing African brands and bringing African, telling African brand stories online. And so I feel you 100% when you say that Corona has been that move, that push that we all needed to just bring us here and people to finally listen to the different types of solutions and actually just figure out what would work for them.
Yeah.
All right. And on to my next question. Let's talk about Africa. Which countries do you feel in Africa are leading within the EdTech space?
I would say the top three, that being Kenya, your home country, Nigeria, my favorite country in Africa, and Lagos is my favorite city, and of course South Africa. There's a lot of interesting developments, interesting technologies that are coming out of those countries, because they're also quite developed ecosystems. So the technology ecosystems are quite mature or are maturing. So there's a lot of interesting technologies that are coming out, a lot of international attention as well that's coming into, for example, if you, about 3-4 years ago, we had Get Smarter, which delivers online short courses. That was bought up by a US company, 2U, and it was bought out for like 1.4 billion. So clearly, the world is now, we have the world's attention. There's some interesting edutech companies that are coming up in South Africa, like Funda, the Student Hub, Funda Edus. And it just shows that people are aware that there is a digital migration and they're taking advantage of those opportunities. So I think if I had to think of Africa at large, and then the top ecosystems, Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa, but that's where everybody is moving towards. Technology is enabling. The minute you wake up, what's the first thing you do? You probably pray, right? So I do my prayers, I do my prayers, I do my meditations, but I use my iPhone to kind of look at my favorite scriptures or my favorite prayers. So technology is an enabler, and we're lucky that now everything is progressing in terms of how do you deliver educational content utilizing and leveraging technology.
I'm so honored to be here with you. It's so refreshing to speak to you and hear that there's other people in the space thinking about what's happening in the continent, monitoring it, and most especially innovating within that space. And just, I see you, Nigeria, I see you, Kenya, I see you, South Africa. How can we all work together? Exactly, right? How can we all work together to just bring out the best solutions for our people? And most importantly, just tell them that it's okay. Let's use these new technologies, right? So, how does the introduction of technology affect the existing educational curriculum? So, do you feel like you would need to update the curriculum to fit the technology, or should we think about building the technology to fit the curriculum?
It's a very interesting, smart question. Not an easy one to answer, but I think when I reflected on the question, we certainly have to adjust our curriculum. We have dated curriculum that's not matching the skills that are required in our economies and to drive our economies, to grow our economies. So I think that on its own is, we certainly have to change our curriculum to adjust it to the skills shortage and the skills needs of the future of our countries, the future of our continent. So that's the one thing. And then technology needs to adopt towards bite sizes, because we also have to be aware that everybody is living in bite sizes. We no longer have the time and the luxury of sitting and consuming content or educational content. So the manner in which your technology delivers this content has to be one that is aware that people don't have time. So that's why we have podcasts that are not going to be like an hour to an hour, or classroom sessions that are like 2 hours long. So you have to find ways. And I think one of the technologies that we're using is gamification.
Yes.
And it's one of those things where you feel like, as an old person, how am I going to learn using games? How am I going to learn something that is of a serious nature using games? But that's where the sciences of learning has illustrated that people's ability to get information, to consume information, has to be done in a manner in which it's easier for them to remember it and absorb it. So gamification has, which is some of the features of our learner management systems. You see all these big executives having to now like go through a game, but that's, it's very captivating. It's easy, it's bite sizes, and it's easy for them to absorb that information. So I think, it's an interesting question, but as much as we need to adjust the curriculum, because currently it's not as relevant as it should be given the skills that require. The technology also has to adjust to how people are consuming information these days.
Exactly. And we just have to be creative in thinking about the end user. What's their experience? What's their attention span? How long do they have in a day? How busy are they? Because I don't think learning ever stops. And I think that's the beauty of technology and the space that you're playing in, to just continuously get us to keep learning, but in cool and interesting new ways, so that, we're leveraging off of tech in a real productive way. All right, that leads me to my last and final question, which I'm sure the audience will appreciate a lot. What are the opportunities in the EdTech spaces for Africans? What opportunities lay ahead? Just like a quick run through of one or two that would be beneficial to them as we close out today.
I think the opportunities are, as Africans, we need to start creating our own platforms, because the model is a lot of people would go to the East or the West, right, to either get affordable labor or affordable developers. So we need to start having a critical mass of our own highly skilled developers that are not going to be too expensive, and it's easy for people like us who are building businesses to utilize them in our value chains. So I think that the opportunity is, how do we upskill more Africans to be able to create these platforms, instead of us now having to go to the Philippines or various other, like India, to go and have a licensing model, business model, which is not ideal, because in the long run, we need to enable ourselves. We need to have African skills for African technology. So I think that is certainly the biggest opportunity right now, because you also make an example of, why would people rather import Chinese products versus buying from South African, manufacturers? It's that it's expensive with South African manufacturers, and the Chinese have been able to produce at scale. It becomes very inexpensive for them to give us a lot of things quickly and cheaper. So we also need to start being able to have that critical mass of the ability to develop and to produce and to manufacture, because we are Africans after all. I mean, we Africans after all, we're the smartest continent on the planet. We are the youngest continent we're just so abundant. So we really need to start focusing on what is critical for what Africa needs, so that we don't have to go outsource it somewhere else.
Oh, I am so fulfilled by what you're saying, because it's true. We need to start. I think a lot of what you're talking about goes into mindset change. So as opposed to like the handover, give me, do for me, or can we go to someone else who's doing it? Let's just start thinking of, how can we use the resources that are already available to us here? How can we upskill, as you're saying, our digital skills, so that we can start creating? And when we create for our own, they're super customized to actually meet the needs based on our infrastructure, based on our language, based on our data, Wi-Fi availabilities. So I really do agree with you and appreciate those words that you've said to us, where people just need to start thinking outside of the box and be self-efficient. Oh, Matsi, thank you so much. We've come to the end. I'll give you this minute to close out and let us know about anything that you want to give light to, any parting shots, and we will be done for today. The next EMUG comes out in April. 6th. And right on there, you will find the interview with Matsi, and the theme there that we're exploring is EdTech Spaces. So there'll be different stories of people doing different things from the continent. So look out for that. Matsi, you have the last word.
Thank you very much. It was an enlightening interview, an honor to be invited by your publication. And as cliched as it might sound, my parting shots is Africa, your time is now. And one of the things I always reflect on is everybody seems to have a plan for Africa, right? But it's time that Africa has a plan for itself and everybody else. So really, really, our generation is very fortunate that we have the opportunity to really start integrating ourselves as a continent, start engaging and leveraging the strengths of each other as a continent. So exciting times, and watch out, world. Africa is on its way, or it's actually arrived.
Africa, your time is now. That's it. That's it from us. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Cheers.